Russia said it was not expecting any political wisdom from Britain on Friday in response to Boris Johnson's possible return as the country's prime minister. After Johnson's successor Liz Truss resigned on Thursday, there is mounting speculation that he could again be elected leader of the Conservative Party and return for a second stint in Downing Street. But Moscow, which was also scathing in its assessment of Truss after she resigned, offered a withering view on Johnson's possible return. "We cannot expect any insights or political wisdom from anyone in the West now, especially from Great Britain, where the current head of the executive is not elected by the people," Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov told reporters. Johnson, an outspoken supporter of Ukraine in its conflict with Russia, was ousted from the premiership in July amid a wave of scandals. At the time, Russian media and officials celebrated news of his departure. Meanwhile, Ukraine deleted a tweet backing Johnson to return as prime minister, after the country's official Twitter account released a statement which read, "Better call Boris," along with a graphic done in the style of TV show Better Call Saul. It was posted on Thursday, but by Friday the tweet had been deleted. It was not clear why the tweet was removed. Amid mounting speculation, Mr. Johnson is poised as a likely contender to replace Truss. The official Twitter account for Ukraine released a statement which read, "Better call Boris." By Friday, the Ukraine Twitter account had deleted the tweet. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and Mr. Johnson shared a particularly close relationship during the former PM's time in office, owing primarily to his outspoken support of Ukraine after the Russian invasion. Russia said on Friday it was not expecting any political wisdom from Britain in response to Boris Johnson's possible return as the country's prime minister. Pictured, Boris Johnson meets Vladimir Putin in Berlin in January 2020. While a polarizing figure at home, Johnson had become popular in Ukraine since the country was invaded by Russia in February. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and Johnson shared a particularly close relationship, owing primarily to his outspoken support of Ukraine after Russian President Vladimir Putin ordered his troops across the border. Throughout Johnson's messy departure from number 10, Zelensky hailed him as a true friend who acted swiftly and resolutely to offer support. Zelensky, who met the former PM several times, said the UK was his country's dearest friend and closest ally under Johnson, and praised the PM's courage and determination in championing support for the beleaguered country. At every meeting and conversation, Boris had one very good question: what else? It became our watchword, guaranteeing effective progress and movement forward. Now, it's looking possible the pair will be able to continue their professional relationship. Now, there is a chance the pair will be able to continue their professional relationship. On Thursday, Russia took one last swipe at Truss after her resignation, saying she was a disgrace of a leader who would be remembered for her catastrophic illiteracy. Britain has never known such a disgrace of a prime minister, Russia's foreign ministry spokeswoman Maria Zakharova said. The catastrophic illiteracy and the Queen's funeral immediately after her audience with Liz Truss will be remembered. The claim of illiteracy appeared to refer to Truss' visit to Moscow in February before Russia invaded Ukraine, when she was foreign secretary. In a meeting with Russia's veteran foreign minister Sergei Lavrov, she appeared to confuse two regions of Russia with Ukraine, triggering widespread mockery in Russian media. Truss' resignation attracted extensive and gleeful coverage on Russian state TV. A guest on the political talk show Time Will Tell said Truss had possessed the three traits needed to thrive in British politics: stupidity, arrogance, and belligerence. Britain has never known such a disgrace of a prime minister, Russia's foreign ministry spokeswoman Maria Zakharova, shown left, said. The catastrophic illiteracy and the Queen's funeral immediately after her audience with Liz Truss will be remembered. Pictured right. Liz Truss visits Moscow during her time as Britain's foreign secretary in February 2022. Truss has been the target of withering comments from Moscow since she visited in February as part of a fruitless drive by Western politicians to stop the invasion of Ukraine. Russian officials took a dim view of Truss' premiership from the outset and have reveled in her numerous gaffes. Upon her appointment in September, Lavrov said Truss did not know how to compromise and questioned how the British leader could say she did not know whether French President Emmanuel Macron was a friend or foe. Zakharova also mocked Truss' high-profile photo shoot in Estonia last year, where she donned a flak jacket and helmet to ride in a tank during a visit to British troops stationed in the Baltic country. Relations between Moscow and London have deteriorated for years, over issues such as the 2018 poisoning of a former Russian spy in Salisbury. They have reached record lows since Moscow's offensive in Ukraine. The UK is one of Kyiv's staunchest supporters in the face of Putin's invasion, and Russia considers it as one of the most unfriendly Western countries. The hashtag #BringBackBoris was trending on social media with hundreds of voters voicing their support for the axed PM. Mr. Johnson has been referred to as the People's Prime Minister in some tweets. Twitter is alight with debate. While many are excited at the thought of Johnson's triumphant return to the top job, others have voiced concerns. The country needs stability, not scandal, one critic said. Integrity, market confidence, support for the most needy. Oh, and there's no money left thanks to him and trust. Johnson is not anything that this country needs, another said. Boris Johnson? Picking a new Tory leader is like picking the best toilet on the last day of a festival. The hashtag #BringBackBoris was trending on social media with hundreds of voters voicing their support for the axed PM. Johnson's face was superimposed onto multiple snippets of scenes from the Top Gun movies to depict him as the hero the UK needs to escape this mess. One of his supporters said, "The country never lost confidence in Boris." Another added, "Boris is on his way back to save the UK. He'll rise from the ashes like a phoenix. And we will all live happily ever after." With a quarter of MPs declaring support for their preferred candidates, Johnson currently counts 50 backers, compared to Rishi Sunak's 39 and Penny Mordaunt's 17, according to the latest tally by Guido Fawkes. Twitter is alight with debate. While many are excited at the thought of Johnson's triumphant return to the top job, others have voiced concerns. The country needs stability, not scandal, one critic said. Integrity, market confidence, support for the most needy. Oh, and there's no money left thanks to him and trust. Johnson is not anything that this country needs. It comes after the Conservative Party announced would-be successors would need to win nominations from 100 MPs to get on the ballot. The threshold means that realistically a maximum of 3 can make it into a vote, and there could be a simple coronation of a winner if they get far more than that. While Johnson has been publicly backed by some MPs to run, including his former Culture Secretary Nadine Dorries, several others said they don't believe he will reach the threshold. One said the brutal truth is he is likely to get no more than 60, leaving some of his close friends to advise him not to run. He also remains on holiday in the Caribbean and faces a race against time to return and launch an effective campaign. But in a boost to his chances, the final 2 candidates will go head-to-head in a final online vote by party members next Friday. Johnson remains popular with the Tory grassroots and could win such a vote, and allies say he would be able to honestly say he has a mandate for government, and has the ability to turn the tide and avert the disaster of a Labour government. But it remains unclear whether he can reach the 100 threshold, or whether a figure from the Tory right could stand and risk splitting the vote. The technicalities of the party vote has not stopped the public from voicing an opinion. Inside the close friendship between Boris Johnson and Volodymyr Zelensky, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky made no secret of the high esteem in which he held Boris Johnson during his time as Prime Minister. Mr. Zelensky said the UK was his country's dearest friend and closest ally under Mr. Johnson, and praised the PM's courage and determination in championing support for Ukraine. Mr. Zelensky thanked Boris for walking with him through the streets of Kyiv in April, and again on Ukraine's Independence Day. Boris Johnson, as his nation's envoy, was with us, welcomed by ordinary Ukrainians, he said. We even started to address him, warmly and humorously, as Boris Johnsonik, a Ukrainian-sounding surname if you put a stress on the last syllable. The Ukrainian leader praised the UK's unwavering support and ongoing financial and humanitarian aid, as well as its introduction of sanctions against Russia. He added, "But I believe in the power of personal leadership. I know it has not been an easy ride for Boris Johnson as he had to deal with many internal challenges. Prioritizing support for Ukraine demanded a great courage and determination." He said upon Boris' messy exit, "I sincerely wish that Boris' legacy be preserved. It comes as Truss was relentlessly mocked on Twitter last night after her humiliating resignation. Her 44 days in office made her the shortest-serving Prime Minister in UK history." Speaking from a lectern in Downing Street this afternoon, Truss said she had told the King she was resigning as the leader of the Conservative Party as she recognized she cannot deliver the mandate which she committed to a little over 6 weeks ago. She held talks with the chairman of the 1922 Committee of Backbench Conservatives, Sir Graham Brady, and agreed to a fresh leadership election to be completed within the next week. This will ensure that we remain on a path to deliver our fiscal plan and maintain our country's economic stability and national security, she added. I will remain as Prime Minister until a successor has been chosen. Twitter was alight yesterday with tweets mocking Liz Truss for her unsuccessful stint in the top job. Labour leader Sir Keir Starmer demanded a general election now so that the nation can have a chance at a fresh start. Without a general election, the Conservatives will be on their third Prime Minister on the mandate won by Boris Johnson in December 2019. Sir Keir said, "The Conservative Party has shown it no longer has a mandate to govern. The British public deserve a proper say on the country's future. They must have the chance to compare the Tories' chaos with Labour's plans to sort out their mess, grow the economy for working people and rebuild the country for a fairer, greener future. We must have a chance at a fresh start. We need a general election now." Truss' resignation came just a little over 24 hours after she told MPs she was a fighter, not a quitter. Former Prime Minister Boris Johnson currently has the largest number of Tory MPs backing him. Former Chancellor Rishi Sunak is almost certain to stand and is running a close second to Mr. Johnson tonight. Leader of the House Penny Mordaunt is in third place tonight with 12 MPs backing her. Sir Graham Brady MPs hoping to have their name on Monday's ballot would need to have at least 100 nominations from their colleagues. The number of Tory MPs publicly demanding Truss' resignation doubled before lunch was over on Thursday, taking the total to 15, but a far greater number were privately agitating for her exit. Liberal Democrat leader Sir Ed Davey said, "We don't need another Conservative Prime Minister lurching from crisis to crisis. We need a general election now and the Conservatives out of power." Prime Minister Liz Truss delivers a speech outside of 10 Downing Street,